Sometimes you just gotta go Bardown.
Kirill, top titty 2x4 to end the game. That was nice.
Bardown Beauties.
That's the sexy part of the game, is it not? The plays and the goals and the...
Yeah, that's what you guys like. I mean, it is great.
And now, a new episode of Bardown Beauties with Jesse Pierce and Kirsten Kroll. All we want is a gosh darn parade. All we want is a gosh darn parade. The sentiment doesn't get any more Minnesotan than that. SotaStick knows Minnesota and Minnesota sports. Grab the parade tee, even available with the adult word for darn, and support our state's need for a championship parade. Available now for a limited time only. Also exclusively available through SotaStick is a Brock Faber and Marc-Andre Fleury designed hats. I am rocking the Brock Faber one as we speak. If you are watching it, looks great, feels great, and supports a greater cause, with all proceeds going to the Minnesota Wild Foundation, which helps grow the game of hockey here in the state of hockey. Get yours while they last. And as always, smash code Bardown Beauties at checkout for 15% off all purchases at sotastick.com. Hello, everybody. What's up? Bardown Beauties, episode 277. Jesse Pierce, Kirsten Kroll. You know the drill. In the midst of an incredible playoff series, all Western Conference games, Kirsten, currently tied up 2-2, including your Minnesota Wild versus the Vegas Golden Knights. They split the series at home here. Both teams have split the series at home, which is kind of incredible. I'm not surprised, Kirsten. The way that this series has panned out, the teams look fairly equal. Again, I stand by it. I think the goaltending has been stronger on the Minnesota side. Vegas, I think, in Game 4 started to click a little bit more offensively, but they were also just getting some bounces, too. Like, I don't think Minnesota played poorly that game, obviously going deep into overtime. What are your thoughts now as we approach Game 5, as we get into the final, and one of these teams needs to win 2 games?
I mean, the series overall, it hasn't been bad for Minnesota at all. I mean, there's been obviously a few areas here and there you would like to see tightened up or tweaked, but overall, all of these games, Minnesota has been right there. I think Game 4 was a lot more disappointing just because it went into overtime and we were right there and it could have been ours, didn't, unfortunately. There's a lot of things we could say about that game. A lot of things could have happened, a lot of calls that could have been made that weren't. But overall, not mad about how Minnesota's looked whatsoever.
It was interesting. Like, I know we went out post-game, Kirsten, and it felt like the fan base was very angry for some reason about losing that game. Now, yes, as you'd mentioned, there were a lot of non-calls, but Minnesota, I think, held their composure through that all. I asked all the guys, and Jared Spurgeon had mentioned, yeah, it wasn't going to do us any good to get frustrated, and Ryan Hartman had said, yeah, but we had our opportunities to capitalize as well, and despite the poor officiating, but it still felt like the fan base was very, very angry about that loss, and I'm trying to figure out why, because again, Minnesota did not play bad. It's still tied 2-2, which, looking at the national scale of things, everybody has Vegas going deep into the Stanley Cup Finals. They have Vegas sweeping Minnesota at one point in time, right? Like, so I think Minnesota has proven enough that I don't understand the animosity. I get it would have been nice to be up 3-1. I think there was a lot of good juju, a lot of momentum coming in off of that 2 back-to-back 5-2 victories for Minnesota, but I did not come away from that overtime loss disappointed in the slightest. Like,
I think the animosity just stems from how poor how poor disrespectfully officiating was that game. Like, halfway through the third period, a blatant mistripping call, just to name one of the moments that happened in that game. I don't know, in that moment, and I'm not here to just constantly bash on officiating for one game, but it felt very much so that officiating was against us, didn't want us to win that game. Whether that be the case or not, that's how it felt, and I think that's why everyone was so pissed off after that game, especially too because we were right there. Could have had it. Almost had it. Little fish hook.
But to that credit, Minnesota should have scored on that power play in overtime too, right? Like, you look at that situation.
That was the golden opportunity.
Golden opportunity to put it away. The call that frustrated me the most, or the non-call or whatever it was the officials who fumbled the icing call when they always, because the whole purpose of icing is you keep your same lines out there. You keep those exhausted players, and Vegas was exhausted. But because the officials didn't know who was on the ice during that icing call, they paused the game. It should have been a delay of game penalty, frankly. Like, it really should have, and Minnesota should have gotten a power play out of that situation. That one drove me insane. Yes, you could talk about the hurdle tackle on Ryan Hartman, but I think Hartsey probably baited that and was just as involved in that situation. I've been told Matt Zuccarello, looking at the replay, actually held on to SotaStick in the possible tripping call there. So, I mean, I think there are certain inconsistencies with that officiating crew, particularly from Saturday, but that fumbled icing call, where that is your sole job. You need to pay attention to the players that are on the ice. You need to call a delay a game or something, because by the time that they got it all sorted and figured out, those players were rested anyway, so it defeated the advantage that was supposed to be given to Minnesota. Now, again, these are minor things, and there are other opportunities that Minnesota had to win it, so I'm not blaming the officiating that, but it was very frustrating to watch. But that being said, Kirsten, it's so hard, and I'm excited to ask John Hynes, and we'll have John Hynes tell us what his thoughts are. Watching this series as a whole, in the loss of game 1, in the loss of game 4, there's nothing I'm looking at for Minnesota saying, oh, well, yeah, obviously they lost because such and such played poorly, or this happened, or the PK struggled, or whatever. There's not anything to point to, which for me, from an outside perspective, I'm like, that has to be really, really difficult, right? Like, how do you coach that? How do you keep telling your guys, hey, you're doing everything. You have the standard and the philosophy to go in and win. You're getting hockeyed, if you will, right? Because we talk about hockey as a game of bounces, and it can be a game of puck luck. And Minnesota's been the benefactor of that a number of times in the series, but also Vegas has now been the benefactor of it. So how do you, I'm curious how you approach that from a coaching perspective, from a player perspective, just to be like, you're doing everything, keep doing what you're doing. Do you think it's that simple? Like, is it that simple? Just keep playing the game that you're playing?
Hold on, I need you to talk for 2 more seconds. Allergy season has not been kind to me.
Oh, I could do that. You know me. I can talk. I can just run and roll and ramble. It feels like a stupid question, maybe. And maybe it is a stupid, simple answer. But from my perspective, it's like, I would rather be able to point out the inconsistencies, or I'd rather be able to, like, directly find something that is a problem. And that's just not the case.
I mean, yeah, that's tough. It's tough when you think about it, but I think that's also been why this series has been so much fun, because you don't know the way it could go either night. Now, I don't know, still hopeful, still, as I've been saying to everybody, cautiously optimistic. Don't want to get ahead of myself or my thoughts, but just I'm hoping Minnesota comes out on top of it. I know that doesn't really answer, but I think it just goes back to the point of it could go either way, and you don't know, because there aren't a lot of areas really that you are adamant, like, hey, this needs to be addressed now. Besides maybe being able to score on a power play.
Would be helpful. Since you can't answer the question, maybe John Hynes can. Here's John Hynes and his response to my possibly terribly worded, overly simple question. Take a listen. How the series has kind of gone, and it's been very even, and even you guys are playing at that winning standard. Is that harder to coach and prepare going into the next game, knowing like, hey, you guys are doing everything, or is it just about fine tweaking some of those details and some of those smaller elements of the game?
I think it's consistently trying to find a way where we can get better. Are there competitive areas of the game that we feel we can be better in? Last game, yes, we've addressed those. I think there's certain things that we believe are keys to us being really good, and are we doing them consistently enough, well enough, things like that. So it is tweaking and fine tuning. It's not like you're changing a lot of things, but every game presents something different. There's maybe a little bit of an adjustment that they make on some certain situation that you catch and you address with the team, but a lot of it is the identity that you're playing with, and is it consistent enough, regardless of the score, regardless of the situation. And I think that's what we've done as we've moved on through the series.
Yeah, I mean, you go out there and you take it game by game, right? Like, that's all you can do. I think the players are well aware of that. The one thing, and we will probably know this answer by the time you're possibly listening to this, so I hesitate to bring it up, but I do wonder what the plan is for Zeev Buium heading into game 5. Again, he hasn't been bad. He has been a 19-year-old rookie stepping into a playoff series against the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't think it's necessarily fair. I think John Hines and even Brock Faber said it well last week, is he's under this magnifying glass. Everything he does is magnified, everything good, everything bad, because there's so much hype and there's so much excitement about him. And again, I think he's been fine. Now, it was very telling when John Hines certainly held him out for a lot of situations in the third period and, limited his ice time and got him on the power play and still put him in those opportunities. But I think that's telling. Now, granted, John Hines is always very quick to remind us his in-game movement isn't indicative of anything except those exact moments, right? It's trying to get the best matchup. It's trying to play to what has been working for them, and double shifting your top two lines is generally a way to do it. But how do you think Zeev has been handling this? What do you think the plan for Zeev is heading into a Game 5 and Game 6 and possibly even a Game 7?
I mean, I think he's handling it the best he can. I mean, just to regurgitate everything that you had just said, 19-year-old rookie ending his collegiate season, coming immediately into the playoff series against the Vegas Golden Knights, a team people, quite frankly, didn't expect us to be hand in hand with right now, expected to go a lot further than Minnesota. And already when you've seen a lot of ups and downs from your defensive group coming into that too and trying to get acclimated. I mean, yeah, he's doing the best he can. And I think, yeah, there's been obviously moments you see that are like, hey, let's go watch some film afterwards and tighten up and clean up these areas. But overall, given the circumstances of what he's walked into, I think he's been doing great.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Williams still had 13:33 of ice time in Game 4, so it wasn't necessarily bad. He had that obviously tough penalty against Mark Stone that drew blood, so it's a 4-minute penalty, a complete incidental situation. It's definitely curious. I just wonder if you give John Merrill a look just for a little bit of that stability, right? Just and give Zeev a break again. And maybe we find that out today at practice, so this could all be for moot. But John Hines, the way he hasn't been telling us things, I'm hoping that he doesn't tell us today that Zeev is in or out. He can just hold that nugget of information until tomorrow ahead of Game 5. Who do you think has the momentum? We know how important momentum swings can be in the course of a series, especially in the playoffs. Does Vegas have the true full momentum, or, as I've said, as you've said, as plenty of other media people have said following Game 4, the better team did not win, it felt like. So I think there's still plenty of momentum in Minnesota. But heading back to Vegas, who do you think has that upper edge of kind of the vibes, if you will, heading in?
At this very second, I think Vegas has the momentum coming off of that Game 4 overtime win. You're heading back onto your home ice. Your crowd's going to be fired up. Your team's going to be fired up. But I wouldn't say that they have the momentum moving forward in the rest of the series. I think Minnesota still very much there. I think they're still very composed. And I don't think feeling super discouraged after that game. And even too, I don't think the fans are even discouraged after that Game 4, just talking a little bit more about it. Even to clear up any doubts about that earlier too, I think, yeah, it just goes back to what we said. Game 4 was more disappointing, more of a bummer because we were right there, but I don't think that changes the series momentum.
Maybe it was just alcohol fueled too. An early Saturday game, and when we caught up with everybody, they had been putting in a shift at TRs, I'm sure. So maybe
somebody started a fight in front of Tom at 7 p.m. in his bar.
An old man too, with an old man. That's where I'm thinking, why are we so angry? That was a great game. It was a great, as I've said time and time again, I love good hockey, right? And so far, the playoffs have been full of good hockey. Let's switch gears. We'll round it out with Wild Talk again, but let's switch gears, Kirsten, into the rest of the playoffs. I mean, all the series, Toronto avoids their sweep, which is no surprise because they are, hold on, let me pull up the stat here because I had found that yesterday. No, I don't have it anymore. It's something like 1-13 in closeout games. They just can't do it. They are worse than Minnesota in Game 4. So that series, Ottawa has closed the gap a little bit to avoid a sweep. Again, Western Conferences are 2-2. Dallas and Colorado. How pleased were you with Colorado's performance against the Dallas Stars? A shutout performance, if you will, the other night.
I have been saying this, and this isn't even just recency bias either, and I can explain a little bit more. I'll even take the free time to roll the tape. There are two things that I hate, and I don't hate much more than these two things. Number one, the Dallas Stars. Number two, the Vegas Golden Knights. Not even so much the Knights fans. I think I hate Dallas's fans more than anything. Vegas, I hate their... I don't want to say their team. That sounds very harsh. Those are my top two most hated teams that I have. Vegas, I think I hold a lot of bitterness, resentment. The organization as a whole for Vegas, fantastic, great people. But I think I'm just very bitter with them when it goes back to the expansion draft and how they saw immediate success.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. Now, Vegas has never been down and come back to win a series. Interestingly enough, is what I was told. So that maybe a little good juju. I'm surprised that I'm not surprised. Actually, you know what? I will be fair to say this. The way Dallas played down the final stretch, and now they're without Jason Robertson, who it sounds like he has been skating on his own back home. I'm not surprised that Dallas has come out this way. Pete DeBoer, I get, is a very polarizing coach, so I think that's where a lot of hatred for Dallas comes in to play as well, in addition to their fans, in addition to the whole legend and history that has been built between the North Stars and the Dallas Stars and blah, blah, blah. I was so excited about that series, and yes, it's still tied 2-2, but I feel like Colorado can run away with it and get the next two, no problem.
Yeah, that's because Colorado's built different. They're built Ford tough. That's what I think about every single time I read built different. I'm like, okay, built Ford tough.
Is that their motto?
It's built different. Yeah.
Is it? Oh, I thought you were just saying that in general.
No, I'm making fun of it because their playoff slogan is built different. And every time it sounds like they're trying to say they're built Ford tough.
100%. That's terrible. Do you like that Minnesota went without a motto?
Yeah, I love 2025 playoffs. I love it. It's been really, again, adding to more resentment towards Dallas. I hate when we get a playoff slogan and it gets thrown back in our face.
Does Dallas have a playoff slogan?
Not their first rodeo, and I hate that. I love that, but also there's going to be a lot of jokes that can be made about that when they get bounced in the first round.
All right. Does Winnipeg have a motto? Do you know all the mottos?
I don't know all the mottos. I don't know. I think Winnipeg, I could be wrong. I think they're more just leaning into the whiteout.
Which it does look good. Don't deny it. It looks good.
I don't know. I still love the Flyers fan that stood out like a sore thumb in the midst of the whiteout.
Playoff motto. Let's see if we can find that. You know who has stood out like a sore thumb and not in a good way? Connor Hellebuyck doing what Connor Hellebuyck does in the playoffs. It is heartbreaking. Now, Winnipeg might be to blame for this by playing this man 60-plus games throughout the course of a season, but he was tremendous. He is a Vezina finalist along with, wait for it, Darcy Kemper, and I believe it's Vassy as well. Yep, so Darcy Kemper getting the votes in as a Vezina trophy finalist along with Connor Hellebuyck and Andrew Vasilevsky, but Connor Hellebuyck pulled 2 straight games. St. Louis has evened this series up. Both teams in that taking their 2 games at home. Series moves back to Winnipeg for game 5. But how much of a problem does Winnipeg have on their hands with Connor Hellebuyck? In the biggest time, it's kind of like the opposite of Jordan Binnington. Jordan Binnington, for whatever reason, shows up in those big moments. And Connor Hellebuyck, for consecutive playoff years, has fallen apart. And I don't know if that is, again, because the regular season, they ride him so hard, or what the answer is. It's odd and concerning because he had an incredible regular season. So to see this, it's kind of tough. It's not for tough, but it's tough.
You know what? He's been asking for his shout out on the podcast. Actually, I don't know if he's been asking for it. He's mentioned it before. I'm going to phone a friend. We're going to give a shout out to my friend Dennis from Dallas, who's a huge St. Louis Blues fan. He told me about this right before, I think it was in the midst of their game 1 against Winnipeg. I asked him how he felt about it. And then he actually also, word for word, I'm rereading our text. Connor Hellebuyck hates the playoffs and must win games. Fun fact, 2-time, soon-to-be 3-time Vezina Trophy winner, has 1 win in must-win games and been to the second round once.
Tough.
And then He said, care to know Binnington's stats in must-win games? He's only lost
Exactly.
2. One in the bubble, one versus Colorado year. Kadri ran him over, hurt his knee, and Colorado won the Stanley Cup, won like 8. So shout out Dennis for that. But I also hate Winnipeg, so I'm here for St. Louis. Go Blues,
I hate
baby.
St. Louis more. I hate St. Louis. Recency bias, like in the playoffs, St. Louis and Dallas, right? Like, I even have a little ting for Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, I have a thing for all of them. I could say, as a certified hater, I could say something negative about everyone we have just mentioned.
Do it one word, one negative thing about each team. Should we do that? In the Western Conference. In the Western Conference playoffs right now. Winnipeg.
Well, I was gonna just try to be nice. I don't know. I want to say like not like choke, but like choke.
Okay.
Hellebuck is not looking great.
I'd go with sad. Just seems like a very sad, desperate. They're desperate. They just feel very desperate.
Disappointing.
Desperate. Disappointing. Dallas.
Aggressive. Like the kind. I don't know. This is harder than I thought it was.
I'm gonna do clown. Just a bunch of clowns. Like I just think that's hilarious that they dropped 8 straight. And again, I go back to Matt Duchene saying our third periods have been the best, blah blah blah, and they sucked down the last runway. So clown show, if you will.
Rodeo clowns. It's their first rodeo.
There we go. Now we're cooking. Colorado.
I know. I'll be here. I'll be here all day.
Colorado.
They're built different, but I don't know if they're still built the way they want to be built.
But they are tough, right? Like that's a tough looking team on paper.
I don't know. It's also hard because some of these teams I'm trying to say mean things about. Right now, I'm rooting for them in the short term to beat teams I hate even more.
It's true. You're playing the hatred game. There's a line there. I don't know. Going down to the Edmonton LA series, though, that is such an emotional roller coaster to watch. Because Connor McDavid, who is sometimes feels very emotionless, when he does show emotion, like I don't know if you saw, there was that meme going around, like after there was just a terrible goal that LA scored to take this pretty aggressive lead, and they show him, and it's just, and it's like, this man is a free agent next year. This man is not going to want to play for Edmonton because their goaltending and defense is so terrible. And if maybe they saved a little bit of money and put some into those areas, it would be great. However, fun fact, I went to bed, so I didn't see this. LA ends up losing in overtime. Edmonton mounts the comeback because they're never down and out. And they end up winning in overtime again to even that series. But that is just, it's so much. The emotions are so high, so low. It's kind of incredible to watch.
And I know I just spent the last 5 minutes talking about how I'm a certified hater, but I was about to make a really cheesy transition. I still am. Certified lover girl, Connor McDavid's biggest fan.
True. That's true, you are. Kevin Fiala had a nice little goal last night, too.
I don't care. I love Connor McDavid. Not in like a romantic way, just like a...
Yeah.
I love that he like is scared of ketchup. I love that he listens to Nickelback. Like, I love how he is seemingly such like an awkward human. And then you watch the little Amazon documentary on the NHL and you see him just ripping everybody a new one in the locker. Like, he is an enigma and I love it. I love Connor McDavid. I need a jersey.
He makes me uncomfortable.
And that's part of why I love it.
Like, I can't with him sometimes. I can't.
I'm
not allowed to say I can't. I can't say that about
it.
players because apparently I can't say that about people, that you can't with them. It's mean. Anyway, moving on.
I have nothing to say.
We're over it. It's fine. Moving on to the Eastern, I think easily Washington completes that sweep. I'm sure Toronto will complete theirs, or not sweep, I guess. I'm sorry. They will complete that series. And the Hurricanes beating up on them Devs. That's all I got for them.
Yeah. Go Canes.
Go Canes.
I'm going to wave my little flag in support of the Canes. I know. Maybe this will be the year.
Yeah.
They say that every year, but you know what? Maybe this will be the year.
Maybe this is the year Minnesota gets out. Again, I love what I have been seeing from them. There no notes. Truly, there's no, I mean, we're getting hits galore. You're getting blocked shots. You're getting great goaltending. You're getting the offensive components. You're shutting down Jack Eichel. I mean, that top line is doing an incredible job because Jack Eichel, as I mentioned before we even had an opponent secured, I said I would rather face Connor Hellebuyck than Jack Eichel in a series because Jack Eichel has had a tremendous regular season, and they've been very effective in keeping him off the score sheet for the most part, and keeping Mark Stone off the score sheet, and really penetrating that heavy, tough defense, too, that Vegas has that we had been boasting about. What do you think you need to see in Vegas Game 5? I think without question, Kirsten, I need Minnesota to score first. I know that sounds so trite and so simple, but I do think that says a lot. Now, Minnesota certainly has been a resilient team, so it's not the end of the world if they don't, but you can see how much momentum they got when they scored first and just go and rattle off goal after goal after goal following.
I mean, yeah, I would piggyback off of scoring first. Also, I think the biggest one right now is you need to capitalize on your opportunities, especially on the power play. That's probably my biggest gripe right now.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. And then that's where, again, it becomes curious as to what happens with Zeev Buium, because we did see Jared Spurgeon back to quarterbacking the power play along with Brock Faber on I think Faber was still on the second unit. I think Spurgeon moved up to the first. I can't quite remember, forgive me. But that's where it is curious. You keep Zeev there. Do you try the 5 forward situation at any point in time? I don't think so, given this team that you're going against. But, I mean, sometimes throw it at a wall, see if it sticks. Maybe not in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I would say, so you say power play, I say score first. I'd also think you got to keep up with the heavy hits, which is going to be harder said than done. Everybody has got to be just absolutely beat to death. Their bodies have to be exhausted. But I think that has really gotten in the minds of Vegas. Going in the Vegas Golden Knights locker room post game throughout this series, they've known it. They've made note of it, saying, yeah, Minnesota, they've been doing a good job at getting pucks behind us and then hitting us and taking the puck away from alongside the boards and turning it into an opportunity. So I think they have to keep that up. Again, I know that's asking a lot. I know bodies are tired. My body's sore walking up the stairs at the XL Energy Center, so I can't imagine what it's like. But I think that's been a huge component to Minnesota's success so far.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know. Again, not much. I think they need to change, just areas to tighten up and continue doing what they've been doing and continuing to apply the pressure and finding ways to, again, Vegas's defense, I think, has been the biggest difference maker for them. So just continuing to find ways to break through.
Yeah, agreed. Another shout out to Marcus Foligno, who's had a tremendous, tremendous series. I can't stress that enough. Like, it's been a ton of fun to watch, right? Like, he's got the physical element. He's got even the little, like, in the right place at the right time to get the goals and creating the time and space, because there's not a lot of ice out there. It's not a surprise. Again, both these teams very heavy and fighting for every inch, and Marcus Foligno can be the difference maker in that puck separation, I think, so far, which has been so fun to watch. And we adore Moose, so there's that to be said as well.
Yeah, he's been a lot of fun to watch.
Been a lot of fun to watch. Plenty more hockey coming up. Again, guaranteed to go to Game 6, so they will be back in St. Paul on Thursday, May 1, TBD on that time, as other series shakeout. Shout out to everybody that came and said hi to us, too, throughout the course of this homestand or post-game when they ran into us. I always think that's so fun. Like, don't ever be afraid to say hello. I will always say hi back.
Yeah, that's always fun. I love meeting people in the wild, no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. And apologies to Jay Faber, who apparently said hello to me while he was waiting for a line in the bathroom, and I just kind of said hi and continued to walk. And he said that was very superstar, rock star of me to do. And I was like, I didn't mean to do that. So apologies, Jay. Next time I will give a full-on hello attempt to. So
just be better next time.
I'll try to be better next time. Again, Game 5 in Vegas, 8 o'clock, right? 8 o'clock puck drop? 8 Central? 8:30.
I think it's 8:30.
Might be 8:30.
I'm pretty sure Tuesday.
8:30. It is. You're right. It's 8:30. 8:30 tomorrow or today when you are listening to this.
8:52 puck drop.
That's okay. We're built for this. That could be part of our slogan. We're
I'm
built for late
different.
puck drops.
I'm built different. Let me tell you, Colorado.
You're so right. Now that's stuck in my head now because it is Ford tough. I feel like how did Ford allow that to happen?
That's all I can think about.
Weak. All right, guys, you're the best. We'll be back with another episode next week, as always, and then we've got content sprinkled on throughout. Don't forget to go shop SotaStick's Gosh Darn Parade or Damn if you're feeling a little risky. Not to mention all of their other great merch. Shout out to Grainbelt and our live show at Tom Reed's last week. Hopefully we get one more in coming up in the month of May. Again, TBD on this team and what they do. And shout out to Talk North as well and Royal Credit Union. We'll see you guys next week. Go Wild.